I'm starting to lose my head a bit. Bit like Luke from Carpology. What is going on here? The bike's just grabbed all of it. And I've now started to see fish show out in front of the boat swim. Disaster of a session. I finally had a bite. I've cracked open a beer. Welcome to a new video. We're back on a bank. You join me in Oxford and I am back on the Embryo Fills Syndicate in Abingdon. Now I've not been here since last autumn and it's really nice to be back on a bank on here. I absolutely love this place and I'm looking forward to putting in a bit of time on here hopefully this year and trying to get amongst a few of the bigger fish. Now the fish have been doing really well. And some of the fish have been coming out at some really good weights, and one of the fish is very near £40 now, and I think there's going to be the potential of one or two going £40 this year, so we could, you never know, have a couple of chunks in the videos this year on here. But anyway, I need to have a little walk around, try and find some fish and decide what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have a little walk, see what's going on and see if I can find any. Now if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and start following us. We put out plenty of different content, syndicate stuff, day ticket stuff, but there's lots for you to follow and check out already, and there's going to be a lot coming in the future. Also check out our social media, shown at the bottom of the screen now. But I need to get on the move, I need to try and find some fish, so I'm going to carry on walking around, see if I can find some, and hopefully we will be able to put a fish in the vlog. So let's get going and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Oh dear. Right, I've got the old duper chirp. Basically there's been fish showing off of the front of this swim. Yeah, sort of 9 foot through there basically. Right, that's 2 zigs out, so I've sent one out that way, one out that way, and I'm going to put one sort of out that direction. Right then, so we've got some rods out in the pond. At the moment the rods are led on the deck. I've sent out some zigs into the abyss, and hopefully they're going to produce the goods. But no, basically what's happened is I've had a little cast around with a deeper, checked the depth out in front of me. At the deepest it's probably just over 9 foot, and I've decided to put out a 7.5, 8 foot sort of zig, one at 6, one at 5, all on black, and I've just sent them out there as I think there were so many fish showing. I think that was probably the way to go, and I've actually already done a recast because a fish showed about 10-15 yards out off of that platform. So I've actually already reeled one in, cast it out long again, but then wound it back and just let it drop nice and softly in the area where that fish showed. So there's definitely fish in the zone, there's definitely an opportunity here, but I'm not going to commit straight away. I've just let them on the ground to see what happens, and yeah, if one of the rods goes rattling I might look at maybe committing to the swim, but if not it might be a case of moving on to them if I see them swimming anywhere else. But the plan of attack is going to be zigs initially, like I've said, and if that doesn't work I will look at finding a spot and putting a bit of bait on it and potentially fishing the night on a bit of bait, because they do like a bit of bait on here, although it is still quite early in the season, but they do like to get their heads down on a bit of munch. So that's the plan of attack initially. Now I've already cracked open a beer, so happy days. I found I deserved it after making a trip all the way around to the furthest swim. But we are fishing, the rods are out, so let's see how the session goes. Obviously talk through the rest of the tactics, show you what I'm going to be doing throughout the session. I'm going to try and show you a little bit of kit as well, because I've got a lot of kit with me today, a lot of new stuff, bits and bobs that you might not have seen yet. So I'll try and talk through a few little bits of stuff. And yeah, let's hope we can have a fish. So I'm going to crack on, finish off my beer, and hopefully I'll be catching up with you in a bit with a chunk. So let's see how it goes. Right then, so the home is up and the rods are out, and reason for that is I've already done the night. So I ended up having an absolute disaster of a session, or start of a session yesterday. It didn't go to plan. I saw a couple of fish off the point swim, which is down the other end. I went down there, put some zigs out to cover them. I was recasting the zigs quite a bit, and I thought I might have had a chance down there, but it didn't happen. I then thought the fish were in the area, so I thought I'd try and find a spot for the night, maybe put a couple of spobs out, put a bit of bait in, and see if I could get something going on the bottom. But I had a good cast around, ended up finding a spot after a long time, a lot of casting, and I then went to wrap it up. A twig got caught in the braid, and I ended up losing about 10 wraps of braid. I then had to re-find the spot, re-clip it, and it took a lot of messing about. In between that, I nearly dropped my camera on the floor. As I dropped it, went to grab it, the camera mount went straight up underneath my fingernail. I'm not gonna lie, it bloody hurt, and then that absolutely started pissing blood everywhere. So I then had to sort that out. To top that, the swans kept going through the rods that I had out on the zigs, and I kept having to bring them in and recast them because the swan seems to be an idiot and doesn't seem to understand that it can go under the line, but instead it just went through the line. So basically it was an absolute disaster of a start to a session, and I was getting very, very frustrated. But I tried to get my head back in gear, and I ended up trying to put a bit of bait out eventually on that spot, and to be fair, that didn't go to plan, and after about 10 spods, 2 of them going on target, I decided to sack that off because it just wasn't working. And I think essentially I was really tired. I come off a night shift, my head wasn't in the game, and I was just messing up everything that I was doing. So I decided to have a little bit of a sit down, chill out for a bit, and try and reassess the situation, and yeah, decide what I was going to do. Now at this point I had actually set up the brolly and kind of commit myself a little bit to that swim because I'd seen fish showing, and I thought I was going to end up doing a night in there. And I'll be honest, I started to see some fish showing up in front of the swim I'm in now, which is the boat. So I stood for a while, I saw about 5 or 6 shows, and I thought the fish had moved, or clearly there was an active group of fish up in front of this swim, and because everything had gone so badly down on the point, I decided to pack everything down, get on the move, come up to this area and essentially restart from scratch and try and treat it like I hadn't been here and all the things that had gone wrong were irrelevant and didn't matter anymore. And to be honest, it happens to all of us. We're always going to have sessions that don't go right, things don't always go to plan, and what I try and do in that situation is either try and start again by moving away from what I'm doing and putting myself into a different situation and trying to sort of start from scratch, or just try and say to myself, you know, sort it out, sit down, have a bit of a break, have a brew, and then sort of get back into it. But I'd had so much go wrong, my head was totally out of the game, I just felt like I needed to reset. And after seeing fish showing in a different area, where I'll be honest, I know there's a spot out in the central zone which is quite clear, I knew I could potentially just fish some zigs and some solid bags out to that area quite effectively. I thought that seems like the way to go. So I basically moved up to the boat, and I just sent out a couple of zigs and a solid bag into the area that I'd seen the fish, and that was literally what I did for the night. So it didn't pay off, unfortunately. I'd love to tell you that I had one, but it didn't. It was a quiet night, but I was absolutely shattered. I got into the bag probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I slept all the way through till 7 in the morning. That is how tired I was. So I had a good night's sleep. Obviously got up, had a coffee and tried to reassess what was going on. I ended up seeing a couple of fish show, so there were still fish in the zone, but nothing had actually happened, and I thought I'm going to just stick it out. Unless I see anything else, I'm going to just keep going. So, and that's pretty much what I've done. We're sort of late morning now, and I've seen the odd fish show in the area still, so I've kept with the game plan of the solid bags and the zigs, and I've just been recasting regularly, trying different depths and sort of moving them around and trying to see if I can fall on or land in front of a fish and produce a bite. So that's pretty much going to be the game plan for the rest of the day. I'm going to do exactly that, and hopefully we'll have a chance of putting something on the bank. Right then, not much is happening, if I'm honest. I've redone the zigs quite a bit. Oh, there's a little frog down there. Yeah, I've been redoing the zigs to no success. The fish haven't been showing at all. I've been stood out on the platform quite a bit, looking around, and I've not really seen anything. But I've decided I am going to put another rod onto the bottom on a solid bag and see if that does the business. So I've actually just been tying up some solid bags for a while, just getting some done, and I thought I'd put another one out. I've been fishing 2 on zigs. I might have said it already, but I always fish at least 2 rods on zigs, and the reason for that is you can vary the depths and vary the colours and try and pick out which is going to work best. But at the moment, absolutely none of them are working best. I've had one out on a solid bag. I've not had anything on it, but that's what I was fishing the zigs on, just a little leg clip. I'm staying till after dark. I'm going to have everything packed down and on the barrow, so I can I don't have to mess around obviously in the dark, but I'm going to stay till dark and then give myself as much time as I can. I did consider doing a second night, but the missus is working tomorrow and she's got to go into work. She does a lot of working from home, but she's actually got to go into the office tomorrow, which means she's got to leave quite early. She's got to leave by 6:30 in the morning. I didn't fancy trying to get home by 6:30 in the morning, so right, I'm going to send this one out. Back on there. Switch her on. Sorted. Hey? What is going on here? The pike's just grabbed hold of it. That was ridiculous. Oh dear, a pike just come up and grabbed it in. Oh, he's ruined my bit of tubing. There is a lot of jacks and that in here. There's not really any big pike, but there's quite a lot of jacks. I'm gonna put one of these on because this is totally different, this solid bag. So this has got what's essentially like a ground bait mix in it. It's the bug stick mix, which is very potent. Absolutely no food value there as such. It's obviously going to create quite a big cloud and a fine sort of dust on the bottom. There's a little bit of pellet on the bottom where the hook length is, but it's not got the same sort of food value as what the pellet has. But what it's really good at is it sucks up the liquid really well. So as you can see, it sucks up the liquid really well, so it kind of sticks a bit more on the bottom, bit more like a method mix, so it will cling around the bait a little bit more, whereas this dry stuff will sort of puff up a little bit and create a bit of attraction in the water column. And on these waters where they're so clear, it's a nice little tactic. It's a very visual tactic, and what with the ground bait being lighter in colour, it's a lot more visual, so it might sort of catch their attention a little bit more than the darker pellet mixes. I have actually caught quite a lot of fish on single solid bags on here. It is a very good tactic on most venues, but that central zone, generally speaking, isn't too weedy. If you're wondering what I'm doing, yes, I am trying to line up the reel, and the reason for that is because I'm fishing on a snag bar setup. And I need to be able to fold the handle so that it sits in there without the handles all getting in the way, which I know a lot of people think is lame, but I really couldn't care. As you can see, if I had the handle folded out, there wouldn't be enough room. Well, it might just sort of tuck in, but it means that when you pick it up, it all gets in a bit of a mess. So by folding the handles, it just gives you that extra space. Right, that's 2 bags recast in, so I've got the 2 fresh bags out, and then the zig rig. Right, so I finally had a bite. Come on, not the intended species, and it dropped off. So yeah, that didn't really go to plan. But I had a pike basically come in and attack the rig on the way in. It was on one of the solid bag rigs, and it was a little bit of a yellow wafter, and it just come flying out the margin, smashed into it. And I did have it on for a couple of seconds, which was quite nice to get a bit of a bend in the rod. But yeah, it dropped off, and yeah, kind of summed up the session really. I mean, if I get a bite, I'm sure it'll probably end up dropping off if I get a bite off a carp as well, because everything else has been going wrong. But no, on a serious note though, I've been watching the water most of the day. I've sort of been sat down on the step, stood at the front of the swim, just trying to keep my eyes on the lake as much as I can. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen anything. This afternoon the lake has been really quiet, and I've really not seen anything, so it's a little bit disappointing. Haven't really had anything to react to, haven't had anything to move on to. You know, if I seen fish showing elsewhere, I would have definitely packed down and moved. But I've not seen anything, so I've just stayed put and been tying up a few rigs, tying up some spare solid bags for like my next sessions, and just trying to sort of make the most of my time really. But I'm going to have a bit of food in a second, as it is getting to that time now. I'm starting to get hungry, but the idea is just to continue with what I'm doing. Keep working the solid bags, keep recasting them. I've got 2 on solid bags, 1 on a zig. It's a short zig as well, about 4.5 foot. I'm going to just keep working them, keep recasting them, and hopefully they're going to land in front of a fish, and I might be able to produce that one bite to save the session. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be staying a little bit into dark, maybe an hour into dark, so I'm going to pack down the base camp, get the old barrel loaded up so everything's ready to go, and I'm going to just have the rods out for the last couple of hours, and then I think once that sort of first hour of darkness is past, I will probably be then looking at bringing the rods in and getting on the move, as I've got to be up in the morning, and it's a good sort of hour and 15-minute drive back home, so I don't want to get back too late. But anyway, I'm going to put some food on, and hopefully I'll be catching up with you in a bit with a bit of a chunk.
Every single day, bam, in that same pocket, wallet.
Right then, so the rod's are laid on the ground. I'm all packed up now. Unfortunately, nothing's happened. I was going to do an update before dark, but there wasn't really anything to tell you as the lake has gone pretty quiet. I've heard 1 fish show, so I've held out a little bit longer than I was expecting to. I've probably been here maybe an hour longer than I thought I would, but it's not happened unfortunately, so that is going to be the end of the session. Unfortunately, it is a blank first session on the Cindy this year. It's a bit disappointing, but it happens, and we're going to have lots of opportunity to get back down here, and hopefully it's going to be when the fish have switched on and they'll be up for a bit of grub. So hopefully you've liked the video and you've gained something from it, or at least just enjoyed the watch, bit of entertainment. But if you're not subscribed, then please subscribe to the channel, check out the social media shown at the bottom of the screen now, and until next time, get out there, enjoy your fishing, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and be lucky.